I always have to learn a little bit of history. Your maiden name was
Jean Bridges.
Bridges.
Bridges, yes.
And you were born in Olympia?
Oh, yes. Well, I have to tell you, I wasn't. I say I'm a native, and I am a native, but I was born in a. Do you want to know?
Yeah.
Well, I was born in Tacoma in a orphanage.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Do you know anything about
You want to know something more? Am I on camera?
Uh-huh. do you know anything about your parent?
No. And I never wanted to. I mean, I was adopted when I was 2 weeks old, so, I mean, why do I have to know anything more? Except that I was an illegitimate child. You know, there's a place in Tacoma. There's a
I mean,
orphanage.
Does it still exist? Do you know?
Yeah, Washington something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Uh-huh. It's in Tacoma, Washington Children's Hospital. I don't know what it's called now.
So you don't know anything about your background, heritage?
No. I know that I'm Greek and English.
Oh, Greek and English.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So maybe he was, Sarah always says maybe he was a Greek soldier or something of a ship. I don't know anything about them. And I never did, I never did want, some people, they want to know. It's almost an obsession with them.
Yeah.
Never has been with me. I was adopted to a family that wanted me very badly, and I only used it as when children know that they're not really their parents, because they always, I don't know when I always knew I was adopted.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it wasn't just like one day they sat down and said, "No, I want to have something to tell you." No, it wasn't that at all. I always knew, because it had been so openly discussed that I had no other reason not to know that I was adopted always. And so you use that, if you like what's going on, it's okay. But if you're displeased, well, you're not one, I'm not really theirs, I'm not really one of them.
So growing up, that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
So who your adopted parents were?
My mother and father lived here. My mother came from Arcadia, and my father came from Scotland, but he lived here all his life too. But my mother lived in Arcadia, and her father had the post office and a trading, like a store, a general store.
Oh, really?
And right on Arcadia Point. And I used to take her back there to visit, and she could recognize nothing but the trees. Oh, the trees you can always recognize. But she spent all her married life there and raised their family there. Huh. And then they moved here, and we lived in this home on the east side,
Off of Puget Street.
On Puget Street.
So what did your dad do?
Farm there. He was a millwright, believe it or not, and worked in one of the. Actually, he was a blacksmith, and he helped build he did the blacksmithing for the building of the Capitol building.
Really?
And then after that, he became a millwright, and he worked in most of the mills that were on Messway Drive. There were about 14 at one time. I can't remember the names of them, but one of them was the Anderson Mill, and I think there was another one maybe. But he died of a heart attack very suddenly, and I had just started college, because I remember getting the news when I was in school.
So he was pretty young then?
Oh yeah, he just had well, he wasn't very young, because they didn't even adopt me until my mother was 45. She'd already raised her family.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. So it
was very strange.
So how many children did they raise?
They had 5 children, and the youngest was 15 years older than me. So I was sort of like the second family, and I was raised like a spoiled brat, So I was all, I knew them, but they were much older, because the youngest was, I never knew why they wanted to start all over with another family, but as I say, we lived on this farm, and